my chicks were supposed to be delivered yesterday and they never showed up. And then now tracking says that they are at the post office this morning, but I still haven't gotten a phone call. That means they've been in transit for about 3 days, which is a little bit probably too long. We're gonna run down to the post office and see what's going on. I just got out of the post office, and apparently what happened is the chicks went to a different post office, which is why I haven't got a phone call yet. This is the second time that I've ordered chicks and they have been delivered to a different post office, and it's not like one that's the next town over. It's rather far away. So I'm getting a little frustrated with that. And the last time that this happened, over half of the chicks ended up dying because they're in transit for so much longer than they really should be. We'll see how many of them make it. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. The key to cutting those stall mats is to consistently pull the rubber apart as you cut, as long as it doesn't bind that blade up. A wood blade on a circular saw works awesome for this. Well, while we're waiting for the chicks to show up, I thought that I'd go ahead and take advantage of this time and get the heat lamps turned on and get everything warming up in here, because these chicks will be at an extra disadvantage having been in transit for this long. One of you suggested that I use stall mats here instead of shavings, and I actually really like that idea because the stall mats are going to absorb a lot of the heat from the heat lamp, and they'll be a lot easier to clean than the shavings would be. So if I can get the heat lamps started on these stall mats now, I think by the time I get the chicks over here, the mats will be nice and warm, plus they'll have the heat coming down from the light, so it ought to be a really good environment for them. Hello. Yes. Hey, Marianne. Okay, are they alive still? Oh, good. All right, well, I'll be down there in a couple minutes to get them. All right, well, you heard it. They're there, and she says they're still alive, so let's run down and see what we got. I haven't peeked inside the box to see exactly what it looks like, but the ones that are chirping sound pretty healthy, so we'll see what we got when we get home. And I did ask the lady at the post office, just because, you know, I wasn't really sure, should I be frustrated with the hatchery or is this a post office issue? And she said it was very likely a post office issue, so I'm not gonna blast the hatchery. I don't think this was their fault. So what I've got in the jug here is warm sugar water. I need to shake it a little bit. But this is a good thing to give them right when you get them home, just because the water is warm. You wouldn't want to give them like ice cold water. But this will kind of give them a little bump in energy and make them feel a little bit better. So I'll offer this to them for an hour or so, and then I'll trade it out for just regular water. You know something's in there, don't you? That seems better actually, just having it on the ground. Golly. When I first put the chicks in the brooder here, I noticed that they were starting to bunch underneath the heat lamps, and what that means is they all just huddle together and kind of start piling on top of each other right under the lamp, and what they're telling you is that they're cold. So I added a third heat lamp and I lowered all the ones that are here, and now you can see that they're starting to disperse a little bit and not huddle up so bad. The danger with huddling up is that they all pile on top of each other, and then the ones on the bottom will end up suffocating. So when they start doing that, you don't want to see it. You want to try to do something to make them more comfortable. I know that I had said I was going to split them into the two brooders, and I probably will still do that, but I thought just while they're little like this, I'll put them all in one, and I think they'll stay a little bit warmer that way if there's more of them. My plan is once they are starting to outgrow the single brooder, then I can split them in half, and hopefully I can at that point see some size trends and put like all the small ones in one and the bigger ones in the other, but we'll see. We got 51 here. I ordered 50. Typically the hatcheries will throw 1 or 2 extra in there. One did die during transport, but that's pretty normal. I don't think I've ever got a shipment where there wasn't one dead one, at least. Sometimes there's more. I would not even be surprised if I lose one today or tomorrow, just because that kind of seems like the name of the game, especially with these Cornish cross chicks. They're not nearly as hardy as like what the layer breeds are. So the death loss is generally a lot higher with these guys, and that's just part of the breed. My main focus now is just keeping them warm, making sure that they get food and water into them, and then the rest of it's kind of up to them. You're just wanting to get in there in the worst way, aren't you? So because these brooders are new, they need some fine tuning and some tweaking. Obviously, the way I've got the heat lamps set up on here right now is not gonna work in the long term, but I just had to get something functional pretty fast here to warm these guys up. The biggest problem here is that I cannot put the lid on the brooder with the heat lamps hanging on this 2x8. So today I'm gonna have to find a better way around this, or a better way to hang these heat lamps. But for now, this is fine. I need to get cows fed. I'm running behind now because I've been messing around with this all morning. So I'm gonna get the cows fed, and then we'll try to figure something out here. Get in. First things first, I gotta run over to the winter pasture and get the feed wagon. One cow patiently waiting. We didn't get it. There we go. I've gone my whole life without a backup camera, but I gotta tell you, having to hook up to this thing every day sure makes me want one. It's kind of funny, these cows couldn't wait for me to move so that they could get at this hay, but the other ones aren't too worried about it. I can see them down there. The GoPro won't see them, but just take my word for it. They're down there and they're kind of looking this way. Some of them are starting to walk up here now, but they're not too excited about it. You know, it's kind of like, well, I guess we'll eat it. And that's a good sign. That tells me that the grass is starting to get some more nutrition value in it, and it's starting to become a bigger part of their diet where they're not depending on the hay quite as much. We're not to the point where we can quit feeding them yet, but I can see light at the end of the tunnel.
They're good for 3 days. They're good for like a week. And they're good for 3 days. And the winter pasture cows will be good for tomorrow. While I was feeding the cows, I think I might have thought of a solution for these heat lamps, so I'm gonna throw it together and we'll see how it does. Okay, now same thing on the other side. Now, did I measure right? Why, yes. Well, that looks pretty good, about as good as we're gonna get. I know a lot of people said that they thought rats would be able to get through this chicken wire. You very well may be right. And I might regret saying this, but I'm not really worried about rats in here just because we've been trapping in here and there's been poison in here for a while. And there's nothing that's really in this building that would attract a rat. I mean, until now, I guess. So what I will do, I think, is bring both of my good nature traps in here and just kind of put them all around the brooder. And I'm hoping that rats won't be a problem. I know I could put hardware cloth over the top of this, and I might end up doing that on the other one, but I just didn't have any hardware cloth at the time that I built these, so chicken wire is what we went with. It's 54 degrees right now, and I can tell that the chicks are not stressed at all as far as temperature is concerned. Tonight we're gonna get down to 36 is gonna be the low, so that'll be the test. Tomorrow morning when I come out here to feed, we'll have to see how they're distributed in here. If they're all huddled under the lamps, then I'll have to do something, but I think we're gonna be all right. Honestly, 3 lamps is probably overkill for these guys, but just because it is gonna get so cold tonight, I thought we'll go ahead and leave that 3rd lamp going.
Aw, you're so cute. The next day, your other friends will have the nap pen, right? And you will have so many good friends. Aw, they're so yellow.
Yeah, they are yellow. It's the next day now, and I'm happy to say that the chicks' first night in the brooder was what I would consider a success. I did have 1 casualty, but that's kind of to be expected, especially right after receiving the chicks from, I think these things shipped from Minnesota. So they had to travel quite a ways to get here, and to lose 1 like that is not a surprise. In fact, I wouldn't have been surprised if I lost 2 or 3. So all that's left now is just let these guys eat, let them grow. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.